Hello there and welcome to Memeobi's Galaxy, a Star Wars podcast. Buckle up, because today we begin a journey through the Outer Rim. This is part 1 of 4 of the deep dive into the Mandalorian era. We're starting where it all began. This week we're talking about Season 1. And over the next few weeks we will dive into the other seasons, including the Book of Boba Fett, all leading up to May 22nd of 2026, where Mandalorian Grogu hits the big screens the first time in a long time. So just consider this the first step on the path. This is the way, and this is Memeobi's Galaxy. Let me take you back to March of 2018. Star Wars announced that they will be making a new TV show, their very first live-action TV show in Star Wars history, called The Mandalorian. They also announced it's going to be $10 million per episode, which shocked everyone at the time. That is not as crazy these days, but it is crazy back then. We weren't sure what it was going to be. Mandalorian, what is this? What time era? Where are we going to be? We got it in 2019, and it was, in my opinion, groundbreaking. With that, I am joined by my co-host, Ethan. How are we doing this evening, Ethan?
Doing good. What's up? I'm so excited to be here. You know, I got to tell you something. Before you even invited me to be a co-host on your podcast, I remember there was two things I told you. I was like, I was so excited about you and starting it up and everything. And I said, Memeobi, if you ever start a podcast, feature me on Disney or a Mandalorian episode, because those are my two favorite things. And Mandalorian, I'm just so excited to be here and talking about it. So thank you for having me.
I know. Oh, for sure, as always. No, I'm very excited. I think The Mandalorian, at least season 1 and 2, definitely rejuvenated the Star Wars community. Now, when we get to the third and fourth episode of the series we're doing, we'll see how we feel about, we'll do some hot takes from other people about why season 3 didn't land for a lot of people. But right now, we're talking purely season 1. All right, before we get into season 1, we are going to start with a quick game. So when's the last time you watched Mandalorian season 1, Ethan?
Okay, you told me we were doing this podcast, and I was hyped to watch this. So I'm not kidding. Before we even started this episode, I watched all of season 1 today before we started talking right now. So
today?
I watched it all today. Today.
Nice. Okay, so you should be able to answer these following 3 Mandalorian season 1 trivia questions.
Oh, I sure hope so. My short-term memory isn't the greatest in the world, but I should get this.
Okay.
All right, let's go.
What is the name of the character who says, "I have spoken"?
Quill.
Bonus question, or question 2, I should say. What species is Quill?
Oh, of course. I have no idea. I'm just not even going to get that answer.
That is an Ugnaught.
An Ugnaught?
Spelled
how do you spell that?
Ugnaught.
Huh. Cool. That's new information to me.
Question number 3. What was the name of the beast that the Mandalorian and the child slayed to get their crest?
So I know the blurgs are what they were riding to get there. I don't think it was a bigger version of a blurg.
No.
Or
it has something on its head
like
that's very important.
It's like a rhino.
Yeah.
What is that called? I don't know. You're gonna have to tell me.
It is called the Mudhorn, which is his new signet.
Mudhorn. Ah, yes, that's right. Yeah, that's the signet on his shoulder. Man.
Yes, and then fourth question: what is the name of the new big bad guy introduced in the last 2 episodes of the show?
You're talking Moff Gideon? Grand Moff Gideon?
Moff Gideon.
Okay.
Yes.
Nice.
I believe it's just Moff Gideon. I do not believe
really?
he is a Grand Moff.
Oh.
That is very important. Correct. So I think you got almost all but 2 of the questions. I think you got 3 out of 5.
Wait,
I don't know. I don't remember how many I asked. I don't really remember, if I'm being honest.
I think I got 2 out of 4.
2 out of 4. Pretty good. Maybe next episode I'll have you do the trivia for me.
Oh, sounds good.
And that because I'm very good at giving trivia, I don't know if I'm very good at answering trivia.
Yeah. That's probably for most people.
I don't know. But... We'll see. That's probably for most people. Okay. So now let's get into season 1 of Mandalorian. Let's just talk The Mandalorian, Din Djarin.
Yeah.
What are our thoughts on this character? Does he work as a character, or is he too much like Boba Fett?
No, I don't think he is too much like Boba Fett. A lot of similarities for sure, but yeah, he works as a character. This whole movie and premise around him as a character is like this perfect mixture of like samurai and Western, But yeah, he's a Mandalorian. He's like Boba Fett. He's one of those guys, and he's different than Boba Fett, though. So, yeah, I love him as a character. He's great.
I do completely agree. I think his backstory is hinted to. I mean, I don't know. For me, and maybe I'm not a movie connoisseur. Maybe I'm not super into writing and how things feel, but how it feels to me, the backstory of Din Djarin was sprinkled through the show perfectly, just enough every week to get, especially rewatching, whatever, it doesn't really matter. It's sprinkled just enough to pique your interest. Oh, wait, there's only one Mandalorian that can go above ground. Oh, the other Mandalorians don't like him. Oh, he's a foundling. Oh, and like they sprinkle this lore in through the episodes of like, oh, the Siege of Mandalore. Because at this point, when this show came out, the last we saw Mandalore was they were united under the Darksaber. There was the scene where she stands up, like I think Bo-Katan stands up with the Darksaber and it's like, together we are strong or whatever. And that's the last we had seen at that point. So we don't know about this siege and like all this stuff, but they sprinkle it in so nicely, I feel like, in this first season.
I agree.
Do we like that the Mandalorians are... What's up?
I was just going to say, it's really interesting with throughout the season, the way the other characters or other species of people like treat the Mandalorians, It's like they're super respected, but they're also at such a discourse kind of with everybody. It's like, whoa, that's a Mandalorian. Like, I want to know that guy and talk to that guy. But at the same time, like, I don't know what to think of him because he's a Mandalorian, So, I don't know. It's just a really interesting dynamic.
It definitely is. So, like, I think Mandalore kind of was pretty secretive right before that. And then you do have, especially in the bounty hunter world, you do have the history of Boba Fett baked into the lore of, like, people know him, and he was, like, pretty hardcore. And, like, old school guys know Jango Fett. Like, they knew this armor held this respect. And then like obviously stories of actual Mandalore and like all that stuff. But Mandalorians traditionally kind of kept to themselves and kept to their planet, and just had inner planet problems. Ugh, they have so many problems.
Yeah. Well, the interesting thing too about Din Djarin is like he didn't start with the Mandalorians. There was this, they sprinkle in his story a little bit, but he was just a kid that got saved and taken in by the Mandalorians, so he grew up with a family that wasn't that way before, but now in this new life and new religion that he has to, grow into and become. And so that's the interesting thing about him is like, he was a kid, so he still remembers some of his past, but to go from, I don't know what his age was. I don't think did they say it? Was he like 7 or something?
When I believe he was like 9 or 10.
Oh. But yeah, imagine that, like whatever he is, 7 to 10-year-old kid being taken away from your parents and then putting on this helmet to never show anybody your face ever again, like that's, he joined a pretty religious thing here,
Well, I mean, he literally, we don't find out this season, but, first watching this season 1, it is weird they don't take off their helmets. Like, we got Boba Fett who never took off his helmet, but in all the Clone Wars, Mandalorians take off their helmets all the time. You know, we find out season 2 that maybe this is like a sect of like Death Watch, or the more like almost cultish version of the Mandalorians, when he like learns more about other Mandalorians. But
right.
Din Djarin works really well. You know, we get some backstory that like, oh, he's done other jobs. He obviously he's too good at his job. That's established episode 1, that he can get anything he wants. He does all the bounties. He does too many bounties.
He went from earning like his first piece of armor, you know, and then it's like that's all it took to get him like, oh, I'm getting the whole rest of the full set, you know, and he went and took the biggest, hardest mission he could, and now he's covered a Beskar steel, you know.
He is.
Yeah, he's legit.
And he gets more. He gets even more.
He gets more, yeah.
He is legit. He is definitely pretty OP, like in the heist episode where they're like breaking out that weird guy. He's definitely pretty overpowered, but not to the extent where it's like you can tell he like he's not super OP, I guess, which is good. Like I don't know, like there is still stress. Like he's like, oh, he's super good in these specific elements, but when they take him outside that element, because like, you know, if your character's too OP, it's like, well, nothing's really scary. They're obviously not going to be in trouble. They're not going to die.
Yeah.
Like honestly, like Superman. Superman's kind of not that fun to watch unless there's kryptonite involved.
Well, honestly, like if you're talking superheroes, I think maybe a good comparison for the Mandalorian, like if you were to put him in the Marvel universe and pretended that, you know, Jedis were in the Marvel, they were like the superheroes and stuff like that. Yeah. Mandalorian is probably more like a Black Widow. You know, like he's got the skills to do what he is and kind of agent sort of thing, you know, but it's not overpowered to the point like he has powers, you know, it's not that. So I like that. Yeah.
I agree. It is. I'm really glad they did the Mandalorian with the helmet, just because like I love proving the fact that you can have character development and emotions without seeing an actor's face. I love that so much. And like people are always like, well, you got to take your helmet off. I'm like, you don't have to take the helmet off. You can see him realizing. You can see him growing with baby, with the child. You can see his regret or his like. I don't know. There's so much emotion that the actor put forth in his body language. But
that's what I think is the most beautiful thing about this whole show is the fact that he can put so much emotion without having to give facial expressions. You know, body language speaks a huge thing, and there's so much you can feel all the emotion and thoughts that he's thinking, even though he's wearing a helmet the whole time. You know, so I couldn't agree more. Yeah.
Pedro Pascal did not play Mandalorian all the time, right? Obviously, he had a stunt double.
Oh yeah, no, I did know that.
Oh, he. I will say, it seems like he played most of it in season 1, but a lot of season 2 he wasn't even there for even the walking around scenes.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see like a chart of how much he did play him. But yeah, what's his name?
I know the guys. So there's 2 stunt doubles. There's Brendan Wayne and there's Lateef Crowder. They go around a lot of cons a lot and talk about it. I haven't looked up interviews about them, but I kind of feel like they do a lot of the physicality because he's a pretty physical guy. So I'm pretty sure every single stunt scene is not Pedro Pascal. I don't think he did. And I think he does all the walking around, which is fine. And that's like a cool thing about having this like covered characters. Like you can do that. Or if he's sick one day, like you can keep the production flowing. Honestly, kind of nice from a production standpoint, if I'm being honest. Mm-hmm. But I think season 1 he played more, and I think. But that's nothing these days, dude. What
I know these days?
Hang on. What's Stranger Things like budget per episode? What was the last season? Season 5. Yeah, season 5 has reported a budget of $60 million per episode.
That's just wild. It's crazy.
Is that? Hang on. How much? Well, let's just look it up while we're sitting here. How much was season 1 of Mando per episode? Maybe I might be mistaken. Okay, yeah, it was 12. It was 12 million on average.
Crazy.
Which like for those days was crazy, but now it's like 5 times, and they're not doing nearly as much special effects. I mean, they are. I mean, you know, Stranger Things does a lot, but I don't know. obviously inflation or whatever. But that's Din,
Well,
and like we'll obviously what?
I was gonna say, wasn't Mandalorian like the start of one of their big like blue screen projects, like the curved blue screen thing that they're doing?
Yeah, the vault or whatever.
The like, yeah, the vault thing they made for the show, and like the light coming in
Yeah,
from this the way they did the sun. So like, I think they were
yeah,
still
yeah.
doing some like newer things, like inventions with the set, where it
Oh, they
makes
were for
sense that
sure.
it'd be really expensive. But yeah,
Right, but comparatively to nowadays, who that's still just like not that much money.
oh yeah, for sure.
Season two, they expanded it. I will say, I hope they didn't use the vault, that I think is what it's called. Hope I'm not saying that wrong. The vault as much in the movie, because you can kind of tell in season one when they're using it and when they're not, and that's why I feel like Andor feels a lot better, because you can
Huh.
tell it's filmed practically on a lot of bigger
Yeah,
sets, and I like the
I'm not
bigger
gonna
set
lie.
feels.
For first experience watching Mandalorian and not
Yeah,
knowing anything about that, definitely had no idea about it. I was blind to it. But for anyone who hasn't watched behind the scenes on Mandalorian, you should. It's really interesting. One of the best behind the scenes I've watched. But right as I saw behind the scenes and then rewatched it again, this is probably my fifth time watching Mandalorian, by the way, for today when I started again. But the second time I watched it, I
crazy.
did notice right away. You know, it was like I watched the behind the scenes and then watched this, and I agree with you. Season one, you
Yeah,
can kind of notice it. So I agree. Maybe they'll
yeah.
do something
If,
different for the movie.
if you're looking.
We'll see. Yeah.
I think they will. We will see in May. But
Yeah.
now let's get into the sidekick, the secondary character, the greatest marketing campaign of all time, the
Tell me about it.
child.
Yeah.
Now here's the thing. Is he just a marketing campaign, or is he a good character?
I think he's a good character. I think I think the
I
marketing
do.
campaign made people think that. But he is actually a good character. I think he's a good character.
I
Cuz
wanna say on that.
okay, go. Go. I want to hear you.
So the reason I don't think it was as much of a marketing campaign as just a choice is because when they make shows, they release information to manufacturers to start printing, to start producing content like action figures and stuff. They did not tell anyone. They did not tell
Mm.
Hasbro. They did not tell Walmart. They didn't. There was no socks made. There was nothing. So day one when it drops, there is no merchandise to go buy. Compared to other shows, obviously we had Mandalorian stuff out before the Mandalorian came out. We knew that there was a character. We knew all these other people were characters, but they kept that
Mhm.
under wraps so well that like we watched episode one day one, and it's like, whoa, what is this? Sorry, now to you.
Yeah, to be fair, I still think doing that later is probably still part of a marketing strategy, but
Agreed.
um yeah, I just think it's kind of the marketing that makes people think that way now. Because, I mean, you can think of
Yeah.
anyone you probably know that you've met at church or just randomly in a store, and you see someone, like some parents with their kids, and their kids are wearing like a Baby Yoda Grogu shirt, you know, and it's like
Yep.
parents
Yep.
aren't even watching Star Wars, and they just think it's adorable, great merch for their kids. It
Yep.
is also Star
Yep.
Wars, so it's something they're gonna want to wear. It
Yep.
works so well, and tons of people
Yep.
have it. If to the point where it's almost like if you're a Star Wars fan, it almost feels like embarrassing to have Grogu Mandalorian merch in a way. Like, do I have little kid merch now if I have this? It kind of feels that way.
Yeah.
But
I have never bought a Baby Yoda in my life.
I
Now,
haven't
I
either.
do own a couple. I do own a Baby Yoda, Yoder, a Baby Yoder, one of them dang Baby Yoders. I got one of them little guys in
Yeah, one of them
Lego,
little baby Yoda.
and I got them Lego, um, and I have a giant Lego Baby Yoda. But the thing is, I was gifted all of these things because people know I like Star Wars, and they're like, "Well, Baby Yoda is Star Wars, so here you go." It's not that I refuse, but I agree. I do feel like I don't want to buy into the marketing strategies of Disney, even though I do love Disney and I have no complaints with them. But the character, sorry, we got so sidetracked. It's okay.
Yeah, we did.
The character of Baby Yoda, which we all named in the show, it's called the Child at this point. Honestly, great character. I mean, it establishes very early on that, this has the Force, which we all kind of assumed kind of looks like Yoda. But then that piques our interest. Oh, what's the backstory? And like at the time, people were making just crazy theories and were like all mad about it. They're like, "What is this? This is Yoda's child. What is it?" And like just settle down, everybody. We'll watch the show and then judge afterwards. Dear Lord. But it shows he can use the Force. It establishes that. It shows that he is like mimicking Mando. It shows he likes to eat frogs. Like it builds his little character. Again, it's kind of a juxtaposition almost to Din Djarin, where you can see his face, but you can't hear his voice. Yeah. He's giving emotion through this puppet, through this CGI baby. I don't know. I love the character. I think it really works.
Yeah.
Sorry, I think take all your time.
The only thing that kind of throws me off a little bit is that he's 50. I'm not gonna lie. You know, it's like he's a different species. He ages longer, but he's 50 years old, and he's still really baby-like, though. You know? Like, Yoda, if we think of Yoda, he's 300 or whatever. He still feels and looks like an old man and that he's an old age, you know? I don't know. I just feel like 50
I mean,
was
he's
just a
nine.
little bit
He's
too old to say. You know?
Well, let's break it down, shall we?
Sure.
So, how old is Yoda when he dies?
Yoda when he dies. I don't know. You know the answer?
He is 900 years old.
Wow. Oh wow, that is a long time.
So
for some reason I thought I remembered like
years.
300. Huh.
Nope, he is 900
that would make more
years.
sense.
So it does. So if you take 900 and you just drop it down to 90, so when he's 10, he would be 100 years old. Like his, if you like in our way we see things, right? When he's 900, that's kind of similar to how we would be at 90, which is pretty old. But when when he was 100 years old, that's more like us at 10. And then you kind of take that back. If he's 50, he's more like a 5-year-old. Now, I will give you, does Baby Yoda feel like a 5-year-old? Not at all. But how was he raised? How does this species learn? Are they like, there's some, like obviously animals that like we as humans don't do anything till we're like, 3. We can't even walk till we're 2. Compare that to a horse. Day 1, it's walking. So like to a horse, humans are like, what is this trash? Can't even walk? Well, that's ridiculous. It's been 2 years. We should be full grown. So I think like even in our own world, we can see that kind of progression. It doesn't bother me as much. It is weird. It's weird to be like, he's a 50-year-old man. Come on, baby. Like,
yeah.
I do agree with you though in ways.
Yeah, and Din Djarin, I think he addressed that pretty well. He was like, I thought who I was supposed to see was 50, and then the IG-11, he's all like, well, some species age differently,
Yep.
Which, by the way, IG-11, such a cool, what would you call it? Cameo, or not cameo, Easter egg, bringing in him,
I mean, kind of an Easter egg, but it's more of just a reference to that type of bounty hunter droid, right? Because we've never met IG-11 before. This is the first time we've ever seen him. He's never been in any.
Yeah, his specific name for sure. Yeah. So I guess you're right. Just a reference. to a bounty droid.
Yes, but we actually get to see, because we've only ever seen IG-88 back in episode 5, I think, of Star Wars. Empire Strikes Back. But he just kind of stands there. So like, what could that do? But seeing him and his arms bending all crazy directions.
He's literally
and him just like
so
an
willing aimbot droid. He's so OP. It's crazy.
Oh, he's the best. But it's like, he has tons of eyes. It totally makes sense. So so I honestly, we can touch on IG-11 a little bit. Cool character, great voice
Oh
acting
yeah.
from Taika. I think it's cool they brought him back through Quill, like rebranding him,
I know the
bringing him back as a
repurposed version of him
character.
is really neat. Yeah.
It's cool. It's cool. Like, yeah, it's well done, I think. And then having him be the penultimate like sacrifice, which is like, it's almost foreshadowed, right? Because Din Djarin hates droids. He doesn't want to work with droids. The whole show is him not liking droids, and then a
Yeah.
droid is the one that ends up saving him completely in the end.
Mm-hmm.
I think that was kind of almost foreshadowed. Almost, it's satisfying, I guess, in a way, to see that it shows growth, right? It shows growth in his character.
Yeah, I know. I know that's
Um,
obviously late in the season to kind of jump ahead and talk about that part, but I'll just do it while we're at
that's
it.
fine. Yeah, we're talking about
I
season
would.
one.
I will say when I first watched The Mandalorian, I was surprised with how early we got to see his face. With it just being the end of season one, I would have expected it to be like a season three thing, something like that. You know, but I think the way they did it was right with IG-11. You know, it was like I can't. No, you can't. And then he's like, I'm a droid. I'm not a living thing. Super smart, perfect, and then he can
Yeah.
help him out. You know, but I was surprised how early. It just felt like
Has
such a religious thing that we can't see this. It felt so wrong to see his helmet come off right away. You know?
I think realistically, they probably didn't know if they're getting a season two. Just this is the very first live action TV show they've ever done for Disney
Oh.
Plus, first Disney Plus original show. Also, you have to give the fans something. You have like I feel like just from show purposes, like you got to show his face. Like we've all been wanting to know. You're because I feel like you either show it or you never show it almost. But I don't know, hard to say. But
Yeah,
it
that's
makes
true.
end of the season, final episode. Has anyone made the joke, the Lord of the Rings reference there? With I'm not a living being or whatever, and then he takes off his helmet. Do you do,
I don't
do you know what I'm
know.
saying?
I feel like I don't know.
So Lord of the
I feel
Rings.
like I would have seen a meme on that and would have remembered
Do
it.
you,
But
do you know what the joke is? I'm saying
from Lord of the Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Lord of the Rings, where
You
it's,
should just
the
make
girl's
it.
like, he's like, no man can defeat me. I am no man. You know, and
Yeah.
then she kills
Yeah,
him.
I figured that's where you're going with that.
Like like that's I just making sure. I just want to be, and people listening, I want to be clear that is the joke I'm making. Not everyone knows Lord of the Rings as well as
True, yeah, we have a Star Wars audience. Yeah.
Um, well, I don't know who we have just got the one guy. What's up, dude?
True. Hello.
I hope you're enjoying your breakfast. Um, we have more than one. To be fair, we do have more than one. Not many, but we have more than one. Referencing a woman at that point, how do you feel about the female character in the show? Sorry, in the show.
Oh, you're talking about Cara. Cara
There's only
Dune.
yes,
Or
Cara
or are you
Dune.
talking about I don't remember her name, but the widow in the village or whatever. Is that who you're talking about? Or Cara?
Yeah, her daughter, her daughter was the one that I got on Swirtle, the Star Wars Wordle. Was that girl's name, and the guy in my chat knew it just off the top of his head.
Wait. What? Oh, so I remember. Was it Winta? Is that the one you're talking about?
Yeah, that's the one, Winta.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I remember you told me
I
about that, and then I was watching throughout the show, like, did they ever say the name? And yeah, it was when Winta was in the water, struggling, and she's like,
yep.
Winta! So, it is
They say
mentioned.
they introduce her. They introduce her again. This is my daughter Winta. But
Oh,
how do we
really?
feel about Cara Dune? Do we like her character? Do we like her acting?
You know, I think it's a really interesting build up to her character. You know, the way he meets her, and she's like, "I'm a shock
Hmm.
trooper for the
Yeah,
I was a shock trooper for the Rebel Alliance or whatever." And I think she's got some cool
yeah,
backstory stuff to her. I don't know that I'm
yeah.
that big of a fan of the acting though. I feel like sometimes she was
Agreed.
Captain Obvious. It's like she just clearly stated
Yeah,
something. There were a few times where I think it worked, where it was like that time where Mandalorian got done talking to the widowed lady. I feel bad I don't remember her name, or if it was ever said, I don't know. She's like, So why don't you just settle down here with these nice people and stay with that widow, and you can have your baby grow up here in the village, you know? And I thought that was great. You know, when she mentioned that line, I was like, dang, that's so true. He could just drop his bounty hunter journey, his Mandalorian journey, and live with her. And that was so real. That was the one moment where I was like, dang, that was a good line, Cara. But everything else, I was like, I wrote it in my notes. I was like, she is Captain Obvious. Oh my gosh. Like, it just pointing out the obvious here. And then her, like, the way she would look at a gun or her intense faces, it just felt like she was putting on that face for that moment. Not that she was really feeling that moment, you know? Does that make sense, the way I'm saying that?
It does make sense. Obviously, her lines are what was directed to her and written for her.
Right.
But, yeah, I think the character is really cool. I think it's a good choice actress-wise for her because she's like an MMA fighter. Obviously, her whole thing is just that she's just muscle.
Her look,
kind of right?
Perfect for the character. You know, I think she has a great look for it. Her character is really neat, you know.
But I do agree that maybe the acting is a little bit hollow-ish. I wasn't tore up when they wrote her out of it, when Disney parted ways with her. Whatever her name is, Gina Favario. I don't know her name. I don't know people's names.
I don't remember either.
It's really, really close to her name. I butchered it definitely, but it's pretty close. I wasn't like too tore up. I know she was potentially getting her own show. I think it's good we didn't personally. That's just me. Because everyone's like, but like it was all political at that point when she got kicked off of Disney. Everyone's like, oh, I can't believe it. She was so great. I'm like, was she that great? I liked her character. But did I think her acting? I didn't think we needed her. I didn't really care that she kept coming back over and over. I didn't really, whatever. But I mean, I think she was fine for what she did. I'm not upset at her. The role she played never really bothered me. But it was like, we don't got to keep coming back to this character.
Yeah, well, even too, like as soon as a main character, anything starts to get political, you know, then it's like some people that's all they'll see in that person when they're watching that show now, you know. So if you're a movie, you're a production company, it makes sense to get rid of someone on that. Whether someone is really left or really right, if they're super sharing political views, you know, then it's like people are going to see them for their political personality now, and it takes away from the character.
Yes.
So
it was 2019, 2020 was a very polarizing time in the political world. So a lot of bigger companies were parting ways with people for little things. Do I agree with that? Do I think that was right? Probably not, but it's what happened, and it's what we got. And now we have a show that we're reviewing. Now, oh shoot, I had another idea. We got Whitaker.
Okay, let me ask, what do you think? What do you think of the armorer? That's one of my favorite characters for the show. The Mandalorian armorer.
Yes. I think she's good. I would call her can't say that word. A exposition dumper. Right, her whole
this is
point
not
is
the
just
reaction
to tell
I
the
was expecting. Well, tell me more.
Right.
It sounds like you're not very into her.
For is to be like, I don't really care. She's just like, okay, there's this like character who just kind of sits there and just hammers things, and all she does is just like Mandalorian comes and he's like, what is this? And then she just tells him stuff he already knows. She's like, in Mandalore, the seas of Mandalore, tink, tink, they took all of our Beskar, tink, tink, and then they blew it all up, tink, tink. You will now be called the Mudhorn man, tink, tink. Give this to the, and I felt like she just like. To me, I don't feel like she did anything, but she was just there to like a spiritual guide, a character you go through to in a video game just to get like, hey, what's the info I need to know? She gives you an exposition dump. What do you think about her? Because that's all I feel about her.
Okay, yeah, I'm not gonna lie.
I
couldn't disagree with you more, but also agree with you. I think the way you explained her was so right, but that's also what's so great about her. Like you just treated it like it's this regular thing. I don't really care about her. Glad she said that stuff. I think she's an essential piece to the Mandalorian culture. You know, it's like she's the one that it seems like she's the one that's helped Din Djarin understand the Mandalorian culture and give him purpose for why he's doing his next steps and explaining the importance of these credits he's earning and stuff, you know, and as well as like I'm going to skip to the end again. At the very end when they bring Grogu to her and she's like, who is this child that you risked many of our lives for, that they lost their lives or whatever. And then she's like, I know of that. And that's the first time we hear a mention of the Jedi, you know? She's like, I know of these people, of this. She doesn't say the Force, but she says the Jedi, you know? And then that's this thing of like, Mandalorian off put by. It's like she knows the lore, she knows the history, and she's there to help spread it and keep the Mandalorian culture together. And I just think she does it so well.
Yeah.
As well as I think she had an epic fight scene at the end where they left her alone, you know, her arms across with her tools, and then she just beats up these stormtroopers with her tools. I thought that was so sick. But I liked her. I think she's a great character.
I remember being very confused initially why they were all in hiding, why Din Djarin was chosen to be the one that goes out and they all just sit in the caves literally all day. A little confusing. I don't feel like that part was explained too well. Because what's your perspective? Why are they in hiding? Why can only Din Djarin go out?
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like it was one of those things that didn't need explained. Like it was perfectly put in the middle of the story that it didn't need some explaining.
So explain it then.
What do you mean?
Why?
I guess my question: what is there to explain? Oh, that's what you're wondering.
Why are they in hiding, and why can only Din Djarin go out?
I think what you're confused about is I don't really think they're necessarily in hiding. I think this is one of their you know, the Mandalorians are seeing like a whole different group of people. They don't fit in with the culture that's above them.
But they,
you know,
they do say that they're all mad. But they're all mad at Din a little bit. They're like, only one of us can go to the surface at a time. How come it gets to be you? Like they say that.
Right, yeah. When he brought back all the all his credits or whatever those are called, I forget. And then they get in a little fight over it. You know, he's like, how come this all belongs to you? He's like, we can't go up. I also think it has something to do with the fact that he didn't grow up in that. You know, he's not necessarily, he's grown up to be one of them, but he also started with a different family, a different culture. So I think it makes sense why he's doing a little bit of both worlds.
Did you answer why they are just sitting in caves and they can't go to the surface?
I didn't, but I don't. Well, I kind of did, yeah, because they're just different than their culture. I don't get why they would be hiding exactly, especially. Well,
I mean, they are hiding. They say they're in hiding.
There's something sacred to their culture, or something like that. You know, where it's like, I even Quill. I mean, you know, he's like, I've never met a Mandalorian before. I really need your help. You know, I don't think they are seen a lot. And it's something sacred to them that they're trying to keep together, to where, I know this is season 2, but someone like Bo-Katan kind of destroyed the Mandalorian culture that she's kept together. Of like, Bo-Katan can just have her helmet off and that's what they do. This is their specific cult thing they're doing, you know?
Well, right. She didn't ruin the Mandalorian. She ruined... Because they're not even right. The creed that we're watching that Din Djarin's a part of they weren't originally from Mandalore. I mean, they were, but they lived on the moon outside of Mandalore, right? Like they're not Mandalorian royalty. They're part of the Death Watch, right? They're Death Watch, Children of the Watch. They're not Mandalorian technically. I mean, they are of blood descent, but they're not like royalty or ruling that they didn't rule the planet. But the way I understand it, the reason they're hiding is to protect themselves.
I was just going to say, I know this is season 2, but because Bo-Katan and that group, they have their helmet off, that felt more like what we've seen of Mandalorians in the past before the Mandalorian show. You know, which I did like that about them. Right. It made more sense. So
it's like 98% of Mandalorians don't wear helmets or don't have armor.
Yeah.
Or don't and can take them on and off. This Death Watch, this sect that we're watching here is like a 2% of the overall population. They are a cult. They are Death Watch. They're the extremists. They're outcasts from Mandalore. But they're in hiding specifically now because of the Great Purge. They're not in hiding because that's what they normally do. They don't just like if the Great Purge didn't happen, they wouldn't be in hiding. They wouldn't be living underground. They're worried about getting killed again or being sought out for their armor.
Yeah, you're right.
So they are in hiding, but I don't know. Felt like that wasn't explained well, which I guess doesn't need to be. It's just like, it's just a thing.
Yeah.
Which is fair. Totally fair. All right. So before I talk about the final character, I want to talk about what is your favorite episode of season 1? Do you have one that was like really stood out to you that's like, this one's good?
That's a good question. I think
I have an answer.
Yeah, give your answer and I'm going to think about it.
My favorite one is episode 1. I really feel like it sets the character up so well. He gets all his one-liners in. It's the first toilet we ever see in Star Wars. We get established everything. He learns how to ride some blurgs. It shows him being a little Western. It shows IG-11. And I feel like it's just... And it shows how intense he is. And it shows the Mandalorians. It's just like the perfect episode 1, in my opinion. And I love watching that one.
Yeah, well, now I maybe wish that I said it first. I think I was going to give my answer of episode 1 too, honestly.
Nice.
Well, because episode 1 is the one that Quill like teaches him how to ride the blurg and stuff like that, right? Right, that's an episode 1. Yeah, I thought that was also like that's the perfect example of why this is a good Western. Is Quill is like the perfect old school, like old man Western guy. You know, he's like a Sam Elliott, but a shorter Star Wars looking version of him. You know. But I agree. I think I just can agree everything you just said. I think that's what I would say too. So episode 1, I would have to say.
I agree. So the final character, but I don't really want to talk about. What's the lady's name who does that has the pit droids on Tatooine? I forget her name. The mechanic lady, comedian lady.
Oh, I don't know. She's a great character though. Yeah, she's got the 3 droids. The repair lady.
I want to talk to her. I'll talk about her in the next episode. Yeah. I feel like we get a lot more of her there. Final character is Moff Gideon, of course. This is when we kind of realize that the Imperials are here. Right before that, we get the "I'd like to see the baby." Anyways, that guy was fine. He was just like an Imperial, whatever. But this is when this is the very first introduction to the Shadow Council type situation that we're getting with the Empire. This is the lead up to the seeing the resurgence of the Empire to the First Order. We get more of that after they made this season 1. But Moff Gideon, do you think he was established well in this first season, only showing him at the very tail end of the 7th episode and fully in episode 8?
I would say so. I think he was established very well. I think probably one of the coolest things about him was the introductory to the Darksaber. You know, that's what we know of Mandalorians is that Darksaber. But yeah, I think he, even not being afraid to kill his, whatever that guy was you were just talking about, the other leader under him that first assigned Mandalorian with the task. Or Din Djarin with the task. Yeah, he's intense. He's there to show he's boss. And he came in with the full army. And it was crazy that the group of them survived that, and that Din Djarin was able to get out of it. But yeah, I don't think it was bad timing at all.
It's crazy that the writers wrote that in. I just can't believe they did it. Anyways,
I know, oh man, the main character didn't die. Dang.
Yeah, I mean, I think more characters should die, but it's okay.
That's all right. I got to talk about this.
Should not die, but what?
It just reminded me of at the very end before we see him, the little scene with the 2 stormtroopers on their when they have Grogu in the bag. They punch him. I know everyone in the audience
they do punch him twice.
They actually 3 times. So the one guy punches him twice, and then the other guy goes up to him when he sees him, and he bites his finger. Remember? And then that guy punches him one more time.
He does.
So it's 3 times.
He does.
But yeah, I was like, oh my gosh.
Okay, wait.
Little child. But yeah, anyway, just had to mention that.
From his perspective, it's just a creature at that point. But we do get a death.
Yeah.
We do get a main character death. Quill does tragically.
Oh yes.
Not make.
That's the saddest part all of season 1. Oh, it's so sad.
It's pretty good.
I remember when I first saw it, I was like, no, he was such a good character. I was distraught.
He was such a good character.
Yeah.
One last note before we kind of end off. I remember watching this show as it aired, and the episode 7, chapter 7, I should say, came out the day before the Rise of Skywalker.
Oh, wow. Interesting.
So it was released, and that I think it was a soft launch for hardcore fans. It was a soft launch for Rey using force healing so much in the Rise of Skywalker. The Rise of Skywalker, because Grogu in chapter 7 uses force healing on that guy. I always forget his name of. And then the next day we all go watch it and we're like, oh, force healing. Oh yeah, that's what Baby Yoda does. It's fine. I mean, granted, it should be fine because in all the games everyone freaked out over nothing. But we're not talking Rise of Skywalker. But I thought it was interesting timing, or important, good timing, I guess.
Oh yeah, I guess we kind of just moved over that force healing scene. I just thought it was. By the way, that was rest in peace, Carl Weathers. You know, he was the one that played.
I know.
His name's Grief Karga. Grief Karga. I know. I loved him. My family's a big Creed and Rocky, Happy Gilmore fans, and to see him in this, it was like, oh man, rest in peace.
Yeah, dude.
But yeah, that scene where he heals him. You know, remember he's like, I think he's gonna eat me. That was so funny. They're like, no, he's healing you.
Yeah. I like it. I thought it was great. I think it worked well. For some reason, people took that a lot better than Rey, but that's whatever. People's is people's, as the great quote goes.
You're so right. That's so funny. Did take that.
Like, a baby can do it, but Rey, she trained with Leia. She could never. But. Alas, I digress. But any final thoughts on season 1? Overall, I think it had really well reception. When we get to our next episode, I'm going to make sure I look up how season 2 was received. I can never remember because I like Star Wars and a lot of people don't. I'll probably put out a question to people if they have any thoughts or hot takes on season 2. But do you have any final thoughts on season 2? Sorry, season 1. Season 1.
Yeah, season 1. Last thing I'll say about this is, I'm very excited that we're podcasting about this series. Mandalorian is my absolute favorite. Yes. I've just been so excited to talk about it. And I'm very excited to watch season 2 as well. This is one of the main Star Wars shows, even over the movies for me, that it's an easy sit down and watch for me. I can start it and I just am hooked right away. Even if this is my 5th time about to watch the whole thing through, I love it. So I'm excited to sit down and watch season 2. So I think they did a wonderful job with this. Dave Filoni Dave Filoni we actually see is one of the X-Wing pilots.
Yeah, isn't that fun?
I noticed that in this rewatch. I was like, oh, how did I never notice that? So that was cool. But
that's a fun one.
Anyway, I'm very excited. It's been a great show. So
I am very excited as well. I have only ever watched these one time. I'm a big fan of watching things once. I've only seen season 1 once as my second watch through, and I've only seen season 2 once. So we'll see if I've missed anything. But I was quoting before they said things in season 1. I remembered it so well.
I was too.
So we're recording this now. We'll record the next one when you get back from travel. Congratulations on traveling.
I think it'll be fun.
Congratulations on traveling.
Congratulations.
I am going on Sky Guys podcast on the 24th, I want to say, and we're going over chapter 16 of The Mandalorian. They're doing a deep dive. Every episode of their show, they're doing an episode of The Mandalorian, which is a lot.
Wow. That is a lot.
But I am excited to go on that. That does mean I have a deadline to get season 2 done, which means maybe around that time we'll record our episode 2. We'll see. But thank you for joining. If you made it this far, leave us a review if you're on Apple Podcast or Spotify. If you're on YouTube, that's weird, I guess. If you're on Instagram, I don't know how you're listening to this. If you're on Facebook, I technically post this on Facebook. I don't know if you knew that. It's really random. I get no views on it, but if you're here on Facebook, I'll give you $100. Other than that, as always, this is Memeobi's Galaxy, a Star Wars podcast, and may the Force be with you.